All right. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for the conference session, Building the Next Generation Through Mentorship. So my name is Amanda King, and I am one of the outgoing co-chairs of the Environmental Peacebuilding Association's Young Professionals Interest Group. So today's interactive session is hosted by the Young Professionals Interest Group, and since its creation, the interest group has strived to provide a peer-led platform that supports and elevates young professionals entering or currently working in the field of environmental peacebuilding. So if you aren't already a member of the association or the interest group, we invite you to join. And if you are interested in joining, I'm going to put instructions in the chat on what to do to join. Let me add those in there. And so apart from my transitioning role with the association, I serve as program associate for the Wilson Center's Environmental Change and Security Program. The Wilson Center is a nonpartisan foreign policy focused think tank in Washington, D.C., and the Environmental Change and Security Program has been working for decades at the nexus of environmental change, security, peace building, and foreign policy. And so a friendly reminder that by registering and participating in this event, you agree to abide by the NPAC's anti-discrimination, harassment, and retaliation policy. Harassment in every form is unacceptable, and more information about the policy is in the chat. So as you all well know, mentorship and sponsorship opportunities are critical for young professionals to access the skills and knowledge necessary to achieve success. So during our tenure leading the Young Professionals Interest Group, my fellow co-chair Clara Summers and I, we knew that we wanted to ensure that those opportunities were available across the association and find pathways to help young leaders find their footing in the environmental peacebuilding field. So to create career building opportunities, we hosted a number of webinars that focus on getting published in the media, getting published in academic journals, and overall tips and tricks from seasoned professionals to help build a career in environmental peacebuilding. So culminating these sessions, and as part of the Road to Geneva, the Young Professionals Interest Group launched a mentorship initiative for young environmental peace builders. The mentorship program paired young professionals with established environmental peace building professionals for one-on-one mentoring. The initiative lasts 1 year. It started last May and goes until the end and ends this May. And it had a commitment of 1 hour per month and was designed to be flexible and based on the interests and needs of the mentors and mentees. And so far, we've received very helpful feedback from this year's participants, but we especially wanted to utilize the expertise and interests available from you all attending the conference to share your ideas on how we can continue to grow mentorship. So today's session will have a loose structure. We'll start with brief comments from Clara Summers and the new Young Professional Interest Group chairs, Elsa, Barron, and Mirali, Shukla, on what it means to be a good mentee and mentor and what they envision for mentorship in the association over the next few years. From there, we will separate into breakout rooms led by myself, Mirali, and Elsa, and we encourage you in these sessions to feel free to share any and all of your ideas on mentorship. So after the breakout rooms, we will report more broadly and close out our session with where we can go from here. So first, we'll hear from Clara Summers. So go ahead, Clara, and introduce yourself and share your thoughts.
Thank you, Amanda. And I just want to say it has been such a pleasure to co-chair the Young Professionals Interest Group with you the past 2 years. Amanda's wonderful to work with, everyone. And I'm just so excited to see what has happened with the young professionals and all the energy of people in this Zoom room as well. And I'm also really excited to see the work that Elsa and Mirali do to maintain the energy of the young professionals over the next 2 years. So again, I'm Clara Summers. I am an outgoing co-chair of what we call YPIG, the Young Professionals Interest Group. And I'm American, I'm based in Washington, D.C., and my current work is with US state legislators to help them develop climate policy. And my goal is to try and use the lessons of environmental peace building here at the US level in developing climate policy. But today we're talking about mentorship, which I have thought a lot about. And Over the course of the next hour and a half, I imagine that there will be a lot of conversation about how to find a mentor. And one thing that we don't often talk about in these conversations is how to be a good mentee. So a person receiving mentorship. I also just want to say, if I'm speaking too fast or not clearly, please let me know in the chat. Don't be shy. I know not everyone speaks English as a first language, so I will try to be very clear in my communication. So I have been very blessed to have many mentors in my life who just kind of showed up to help mentor me. And I think the first thing I've learned about that is that mentors come to you wanting to help, and you should treat them like a friend, treat them like a person. Sometimes when we talk about mentors, we think of them as just this knowledge resource to exploit. And if you really think of them as a person who has wisdom to share and wants to help you, and think of it as a two-way relationship, I think you'll have a much more successful mentorship relationship. So this means don't only reach out when you need something. It means when you say you'll do something, do it. And when a mentor or a potential mentor contacts you, you should respond. Don't leave them hanging. It seems pretty obvious, but I think sometimes people get intimidated when they're working with seasoned professionals. So think of them as just another friend. Similarly, if you do an informational interview with someone, I can guarantee that unless you follow up with them afterwards to say thank you, or another time in the next few months just to update them on your situation, they're going to forget who you are, because they probably do a lot of informational interviews with people. So maintaining the connection in a human way, not in a, hey, you should hire me way, I think is really important. Plus, even if there's no job for you now or project for you to work on now, there might be in the future. So keep in touch and send thank you notes to people. Another thing I have learned about being a mentee is that it's a good idea to find different mentors for different things. So you might find that a seasoned professional in your life is really good at explaining concepts and issues to you, but they're not really interested in talking with you about career development or reviewing your job application. Someone else might be interested in that. So it would be good to connect with them. So yeah, it's okay, find someone else who has that skill. And just like you know your own strengths, it's good to know your mentor's strengths. So for example, when I need advice about how to deal with a tough colleague, I talk to a former supervisor who knows me really well. But when I want advice about who works in environmental peace building and what organizations I should explore, I talk with a former professor of mine, also who knows me really well. And I will, so I'll think of it as an ecosystem of mentors. You can reach out for different people, to different people based on what their ecological niche is in your own career development life. Finally, I just want to say the Environmental Peacebuilding Association is full of really amazing, smart people who also tend to be really friendly and supportive of young professionals. I was really fortunate at the last conference. Yes, Carl Bruck notes that managing upward is, is a good skill to have. I agree. So I just want to note, for me, attending the last Environmental Peacebuilding Conference was amazing in terms of the connections I made, because some people who I just chatted with over coffee have ended up being real role models for me, and people who have invested themselves in my own development, including Carl. Shout out to Carl, who's really supportive of young professionals. Um, and I know that right now we're all online and it's hard to build connections virtually, but don't be afraid to reach out to people who you heard on panels or who you saw making interesting comments during a presentation, to just say, hey, like, I thought you were cool, or you said this cool thing and I'm interested in knowing more about you. If they don't respond, that's okay. You tried, whatever. If they do respond, great, then you can maintain the connection and start to build a relationship. So I will leave it at that, but just wanted to start us off thinking, just as we're looking for mentorship, how we in turn can be good mentees to others. And I think, Elsa, maybe you wanted to speak next, or go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah. Oh, just saying thank you, Clara. And yes, agreed. Kudos to Carl always, especially for us having this session where we can talk openly about mentorship and having those opportunities. So Elsa, go ahead and share your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm Elsa. I am a program assistant at the Center for Climate and Security, which is a think tank based in DC that's focused on the intersection of climate impacts and climate change, future climate change, and global risks, and preventing and preparing for those events. And I'm also the host of a podcast called Olive Shoot on environmental peacebuilding, which is really kind of what I would like to frame this conversation in, because that is all about finding hope in the midst of very serious, real challenges, both in our careers potentially, but also in the events of the world at large, and often doing so through meaningful relationship. And I think that that is at the core of this. And I loved what Clara pointed out, not looking for exploitative relationships. I think that that is critical, because I think that's what environmental peacebuilding is about, is moving away from frameworks of exploitation into frameworks of relationship with people, with the environment, and seeing how that can translate into broader peace. And so I think it starts with our actual relationships as well, and the importance of those. And Mirali and I are super excited and also very open to the future directions of the Young Professionals Interest Group. And I think we both really do want to center that around relationship with you all and with others who can help guide us as we continue to develop in our careers. And so we have some ideas. We want to create a map of all of the young professionals so we can see where each other are, we can see what each other's interests are. We want to continue the legacy that Clara and Amanda started with this mentorship initiative and continue to make it work for everyone. But I'll stop there just to say that we are very open and excited to hear in this conversation, which will very actively shape the future moves that we make. So be open, be willing to share and tell us what you're looking for as well in terms of mentorship.
Thank you, Elsa. I know I'm so excited to see what you both do. So Mirali, I'll turn it over to you to hear from you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mirali. I work in the biocultural conservation field, which means my research and projects explore the linkages between local communities and wildlife and the natural environment, and how those relationships affect human rights and conflict resolution. I am so excited to be a part of this. I'm so excited to be co-chair with Elsa, and just to say, I can't wait to see where White Pig goes, but also I'm so excited to see what everyone here is going to bring to the table, because I really want to learn from all of you as well. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for co-sharing, and I think with mentorship, or in this position or any position, it's about commitment on both sides, and it's about being mutually beneficial. And there's so much to be provided and learned, and yeah, I'm very excited about it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mirali. Okay, so, and thank you, each of you, for helping us set the kind of stage of what we really wanted to talk about today. So really appreciate that. So everyone here, we're going to migrate to breakout rooms. And again, we encourage you to be open and share your thoughts so we can really continue to grow mentorship. So before we go, I want to thank you all again for joining us and helping us shape the future of environmental peace building. So I'm going to open the breakout rooms now and we can go. Oh, Carl, did you have something to say quickly before we go?
I just had one specific question.
Yeah.
How many mentors are here and how many mentees or would-be mentees?
Ooh, that's a great question. Let's see. Wonder if we could do a way to put that. Maybe we could do a raising hand.
Or something like that. I was just curious because
Yeah.
I think just based on the names I recognize, it's majority potential mentees. But I think one way we could do this is if everyone, so Matt Switzer recommends renaming yourself. Another thing we could do is just briefly, if you know how to use the reaction feature, go down to the reaction feature and press the heart if you are a potential mentor, and the I don't know how to describe it, so we won't do that. And the clapping if you're a potential mentee.
All right, let's do
know
that.
how to do that?
There we go. Ooh, lots of mentees. Oh, I
I
love seeing the hearts. Yeah.
Yeah. And both, that's true. You can be a
Yes.
mentor and a mentee. And actually one thing great is I'm hoping that the infrastructure we build in this association of young professionals who have received mentorship means that the next generation will automatically do it.
Yeah.
I know I certainly have applied lessons I learned from people mentoring me to people I supervise now or work with now. So
That's fantastic. Yeah, I like that. It's nice to see all the hearts and claps and the mix of the two. I think it'll really help inform our discussion today. So I'm going to open the breakout rooms now, and we'll meet you all over there. So it's going to be me, Mirali, and Elsa that will be leading the various breakout rooms. So we will see you over there. There we go. We had a great conversation in our breakout room, and I hope the same for all of you. So we wanted to take about maybe 10, 15 minutes or so and just report back on what we talked about in the sessions. And I will start with Elsa or Mirali. Maybe Elsa, if you want to report out, or if you had someone else from your group who wanted to report out on what you guys talked about, you can share with everyone.
Yeah, so I'll start, and anyone from my group can feel free to jump in with other thoughts too if I miss anything. We had a really great conversation. So we started out talking a little bit about mentors that we had experienced in our lives and different styles and different ways in which that relationship played out, and different strengths of mentors, as was kind of introduced at the beginning of the session. And then we moved into a question about, levels of honesty with our mentors, how to navigate situations where we really respect our mentors, we think that their work is great, but maybe we're headed in a different direction or have slightly different interests, how to navigate that relationship and potentially tough conversations. Then the question was elevated by saying, like, what if there's an opportunity that our mentor presents to us, but it's not the opportunity for us? So we just had a really great, honest, open conversation about this. There were some quotable moments. Mentors don't choose us, we choose our mentors. If a mentor isn't aligning with your inner being, you need to find someone who is not putting yourself in conflict with yourself. That might be for like a more extreme difference of opinion between yourself and a mentor. But I think the overall point there was that, and this was raised as well by someone else, that our work can be very values driven, and sometimes our values can shift, sometimes our values don't align, and that can create real tensions in our working relationships. And so in terms of mentorship, I think the consensus there was that it's great to maintain connections, but sometimes you might need to find someone who deeply aligns with your core values in order for that relationship to push you in the direction that you want to go. So again, this was like a very vulnerable conversation. And I'm trying to do it justice. And then we had some more questions arise at the end that we didn't really get to answer about how to find mentors, how to move from a professional connection into a mentorship relationship. What does it look like to actually develop that? As well as some different cultural norms around mentorship and the importance of that, whether it's emphasized or not, could be different in different contexts. So I probably missed some things, but anyone please jump in if there's something else that we should have covered. All right, hopefully that means we're good.
Got it, some thumbs up. So I think you summarized it, and everyone too can put in the chat different things as well. So Mirali, I'll turn over to you for what your group talked about.
Our group talked so much, and I'm really, really glad for the open conversation we had. Just like Elsa, I'll speak, but if anybody wants to jump in, please feel free to say anything extra that you think of. We started talking about what we wanted from mentors, pointing us in the right direction, opening doors, giving suggestions that you wouldn't know about otherwise, and networking, but not just right now, but throughout different stages of your career as you progress, and how mentorship doesn't actually have to be top down, it can be experiential. And we went through a bit of problems and challenges that people have been having lately, including things like COVID, whereas people used to just say, let's go grab a coffee, but there's no such thing as that anymore. So it can be a bit harder to get in touch with senior researchers and mentors because emails can just be buried in the lots and lots of work that people who are potential mentors may have. So it's just difficult to transition from a regular kind of mentor-mentee relationship into a COVID one, and that virtual context. But we're also looking for different types of supervisors. There's academic version, there's, like Clara was saying in the beginning, career-focused versions. We're looking for more long-term mentors. And as a mentor speaking, someone mentioned that it can also be rewarding to be that person that you needed at one point in your career, which I thought was a lovely thing to say. And we spoke about how it pushes generations to engage with each other more intentionally, and kind of cross-fertilize to be in the same field, but different enough and with enough diversity in thinking that pushes for innovation. We talked about having a safe space and being able to be open with your mentor, which is really valuable in that you can be yourself and share your interests and passions and not have to feel like they might talk to your boss if they said something or be on watch all the time. And yeah, we mostly talked about the value of a collaborative partnership and building a community through mentorship. And I think those are the main points, but if anybody wants to jump in, feel free.
Thank you, Mirali. No thumbs up, but I assume everyone's good from your breakout room. So there we go, got some more reactions. So I can debrief from ours. We had a really interesting discussion. Similarly, we started just sharing our experiences with mentorship, and what that really meant for us, both good and bad. And really from the group, it sounded like most people were able to either find a really strong mentor either a boss or a professor. And if they didn't, they were really driven to make sure that other people were able to find the mentorship. So it was really an interesting dynamic, and people were really dedicated to making sure that people have each other's backs in their respective field. So a few key takeaways: communication is key. We had a lot about building trust among the mentor and mentee, and kind of that having that openness. A big thing was also making the most of your time with each other. So especially for mentees, like being prepared, having questions, having things you want to talk about, but also appreciating that kind of open space to talk about life and what people are working on, because from there you can also have more of those creative ideas, things to work on, or different things you can do or build off of from just your one conversation with each other. And definitely realizing expectations as well. Like, what do you want to get out of the mentorship relationship? Is it, I think Clara said it earlier too, it's, you have different mentors for different things. There's a few pathways you can do it. Is it skills building? Like as we mentioned earlier, the Young Professionals Association hosted different webinars on getting published in media, getting published in a journal. We did the resume review yesterday. So it's like these different things that are also mentorship. I mean, you have seasoned professionals going around the room helping to elevate you in your career, but it also could be advice, just one-on-one conversations about where do we go from here. Something we talked about is everyone is so interdisciplinary and has so many different interests that it can be hard to find footing in the environmental peace building field, which is awesome because we get so many different perspectives from all over the world, clearly as shown through the conference, but also helping each other navigate that and finding someone who can connect you where you need to get connected to. So there's two different routes we kind of talked about, and making that clear up front is really helpful in growing with mentorship and finding that mentor or mentee. And also, we didn't talk about this, but I'm thinking about it too, is remembering that you're a mentor to each other, and like peers are mentors to peers, and not forgetting that. I think we do. We're like, show me, what do I need to know? I want to elevate, but also connections amongst each other cannot be forgotten. And so definitely a kudos to the association and the interest groups, because you can find that peer level mentorship and interactions to continue growing. So my plug that we didn't talk about, but have to share if we're talking about mentorship and building a career as a whole. So I think we'll take some time to open the floor for some final thoughts. If there was things that you weren't able to get to, or if you have questions we have some mentors and mentees around the room. If you have questions, I'm just going to leave it open. And if you want to raise your hand and share any final thoughts before we kind of visit, where do we go from here with mentorship? So the floor is open. Go for it. Raise your hand and share. Anyone? Oh, Claire, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question that kind of was spun out of our discussion in our breakout room, but I was thinking about expectations, setting expectations, which you just mentioned. And in my relationships with my mentors, they've been people that I've known really well from previous roles. And so I have a sense of their MO. I have a sense of kind of how they operate, what they might want, like what they generally expect going in. And I think moving forward, as I try to make relationships, mentee-mentor relationships with people I don't know as well, I'm curious to hear any advice on kind of how to set up those expectations, whether it means coming to a meeting saying, this is how I see it going, what do you think, or kind of playing it more by ear, but would love some advice on that front.
I would say that if you are able to play it by ear, you might get more. if you come in asking for a fair amount, you might get a hard no. Whereas if it's, can I call you again? Okay, this has been very helpful. You can kind of build there, or they might invite more. But if you say, well, and I've actually had this happen at times. I feel bad doing it, but somebody said, well, would you be my mentor? It's like, I'm actually full up on mentorship. I'm happy to talk to you now, and I'd be happy to talk to you again. I just can't commit to an ongoing series of discussions every month or whatever. And so I think if it's, but you can also then use that opportunity to say, hey, I'm in, who else might be good mentors, and then they can also volunteer. But I think so it's all, especially if you don't know the person and they don't know you. If you push too hard at the outset, they may just shut the door.
Yeah, that's a really helpful reminder. Thank you.
I have a question. Oh, Noemi, you jump in.
Okay, mine is COVID related. So if you want to, you can go first, of course. Okay.
No, you go.
Well, most of my menteeship experience has been during the pandemic, and it has been really difficult because all of my mentors are from all over the world, which is amazing because obviously you learn a lot, but at the same time, it's really difficult to make a really meaningful connection with someone and also understand which level you're meeting them at and how much they trust you, how much you can trust them with the situation that you're in. And I was just wondering if anyone can share a tip on how to deal with this better, because of course it's also holding me back or holding everyone back, I think, in this time.
What do you think? I mean, you've been on both sides.
Carl, whose name was it that you called?
I was asking about Elaine.
Okay.
Just wondered if
Elaine, go ahead, please.
Oh, sorry. I actually meant to raise my hand for a different point, but
the question is, if with COVID, you're not able to be in the same place, you're not able to kind of have the same depth of relationship with people that you might otherwise have. And I'm wondering, kind of on either end of the mentorship mentee relationship, if you had any advice on how do you proceed in those circumstances other than carefully?
yeah, that's true. I guess my thought on that is still it's all about regularity of or frequency of your interaction. And then I think another thing to be really important and conscientious about building into that, if you're having like a weekly or bi-weekly, monthly Zoom call, to make sure that you schedule time in that discussion to not just talk about work, but about how are you, what are you doing these days, how's your dog, I don't know, the other stuff that makes us human beings and helps us to connect on that level. Does that help? But I did have another question, so if this conversation finishes, I'll jump back in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I think that that's a great reminder. And something we talked about in our room too was how to be vulnerable, how to find space to have more existential conversations when a lot of times you have an hour-long Zoom call and you've got an agenda and there's not as much casual time. So I see a hand up from Kelly, and Kelly, if your comment is on this thread, please jump in. Otherwise, we'll go back to Elaine for her question. So just let me know if this is a separate point or something to continue the conversation.
Separate point.
Separate point. Okay, then since Elaine raised her hand first, I'll go back to her and then we'll transition to you.
Okay, thank you. And sorry for occupying so much space, but
No.
I do have this. It's because I'm, at a place where I'm looking for a different kind of mentorship, and really specifically I'm feeling really drawn to have, kind of female women of color, who've really just been at the forefront of things and pioneering in their field or something like that. And, there just aren't that many. In our field, or in, I don't know, now I've moved recently to Northeastern Ohio and there really aren't many. And I'm just looking for that and wondering how to approach maybe the right person in a way that, again, doesn't become burdensome for them, because these are the few and far between kind of, that everyone who's looking for that kind of, I don't know, role model or mentor might also be kind of trying to latch onto.
I don't have a specific suggestion, but I would suggest a couple things. One is chat with Erica Weinthal about this. And I don't know if there's anything within ISA or otherwise, but I know within the environmental law community, there are groups of, generally it's women or people of color. And so, I'd ask Erica about that. Another person I think would be very interesting to talk to would be Maxine Burkett. I mean, she's really busy right now because she went into the administration, she works on a lot of issues around environment and conflict more locally, usually at a Hawaii law school. And again, I'm not saying that she would be a mentor, but she might know about such a community or might be supportive of having you foster such a community or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. I mean, the point is that those people are so stretched because they're like the one female of color that everybody's trying to get on the panel, or, I don't know.
The other thing that I would add in this sense is usually you have an advantage in that you are a somewhat proven, I mean, you're a proven quantity. You're here, you're doing really interesting work, you're engaging. You are the sort of person somebody would want to invest in. So yes, they're busy. Doesn't mean that they won't do it.
Thanks, Carl. That's very kind.
Yeah. Pao, do you have a thought on this question? Yeah, jump in.
So I am a woman of color and I was in Southeast Ohio. I was actually very afraid because my mentor was a white man, but I would say, don't be afraid to also look up for other type of mentors. Actually, have a very broad talks. It will open also your mind. And that, at least that happened with me. And so don't be afraid to just go to somebody else that don't look like you, or they didn't have your same experiences, because other people can have also empathy with your experiences. And in my case, I built trust, not just also with my mentor, also with different parts of the university that I was studying. Just don't close on your side. And I think also this is a great place to build more confidence with more people for, I don't know, but my point is just be open-minded and go with people that they don't really look like you, and they might be more helpful that people might look like you.
Thank you, Paul. I do have great white male mentors, I have to say. They've been amazing and incredible, and Carl knows many of them, but so I'm not closed to that at all. It's just that I want a little something else, something that they can relate to, connect with my own experience as a female of color.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'll turn to Kelly, who had his hand raised earlier. And that might be the final comment to then close us out.
Okay. Glad to know that I'm about to close out. I just wanted to add something that I think should be very important to the youth, and something that I think that it's good and essential for the posterity and the future of peace, especially when we are in a session like these that we're looking towards peace building. And I believe that peace building starts not from external, it starts from internal, which is developed from probably childhood, the values which you have to adhere to. And within the childhood stage, we are supposed to learn a lot about ourselves. We're supposed to be taught what moves with us, what is within us, what is that thing that takes us to the direction that we have to go in life and be and feel successful and achieved, that we are actually contributing to some cause of humanity, which is great. And I think a mentor should be that kind of person that can identify those values in you, the values of truth in yourself, the values of who you are, and create time. It might be voluntary time, because I think every mentor that sees the truth and the light in a youth will create time to make that youth to be better. It gives some joy to be part of the constructive process of the society. So actually getting a mentor, you, the mentee, or whatever you call it, you should be able, first of all, to understand what knowledge is being impacted on you, what knowledge is given by your mentor, and if that knowledge is acceptable to who you are and what you're looking forward to. If that knowledge is the person in you, or if that knowledge is fighting the person of who you are. So I'm actually thinking that though we need to be open, we need to be everything, but the most important thing each and every youth should know is that you should find out what are the authentic internal characteristics of who you are. Until you have that, you end up being mentored in directions which are probably not yours, and it is not going to help our global process of peace building. Peace, for peace to be sustainable, for peace, environmental peace to work, for peace to be an impact at which all of what we are here and what we are looking towards at. The first thing is that the individuals that are receiving the peace message to understand the values of peace, because people go in because it's a profession, it's a job, it's a project. We need to give reports and results. So the important thing is to get people to be who they are intrinsically and understand that these are the values that can make us happy. If you make one individual happy, you've made a chain and network of others happy. All you need to do is to find the authentic characteristics of one person and make that person happy. That person, it's like, there's a word I wanted to use and that word just skipped off my mind. It's contagious. Happiness is contagious. Authenticity is contagious. So there should be a link between the mentee and the mentor that ties them in the direction and the path. We should not forget the fact that we are here for peace. Peace is the most and the most essential concept of our being. We cannot have, doesn't matter the science, it does not matter the achievement, it does not have the level of whatever we are. If we are not able to have the hearts to handle those things, or we have people amongst us who have hearts that are fighting within themselves, they will destroy it, as we have had. We have had world war. The world grows to development to a particular level, and you have people who are not okay, and then they start a war and they crush everything, and the humanity starts all over. So we should be looking at mentors that can build us in this position or align with what we are towards the process of peace building. The final message is just that. I will warn that there is an opportunity and a position at which to understand mentorship in the future, childhood should be taught. Childhood they should engage childhood at the family and the community levels, so that by the time you are at the level which you want to look for mentorship, you already know what you are all about and the values of what you have. You cannot be derailed, and the mentors themselves also will know what they have to mentor, so that we are all in one line, one focus, sustain and maintain peace of humanity. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. That is a good reminder that there's real consequence to the impacts of our mentorship, the impacts of our work, and that this is the heart of all of this is that vision of peace that you very beautifully outlined. And so I will just turn it over for closing thoughts with that.
Oh, thank you, Elsa. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. I mean, we are very grateful for your participation and being open and honest and sharing your experiences. I mean, it really helps. And even just the final remarks, it helps us learn as people and how we can become stronger and even more productive in this field and keep growing as ourselves. And that's all what mentorship's all about. So I really want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank Clara and Elsa and Mirali. I'm so excited to see where you steer the interest group and continuing mentorship in the association. And thank you, I mean, mentees, mentors, for joining us and sharing your advice and your thoughts. I mean, it really helps us set a foundation for environmental peace building and our connections with each other. So with that, I don't really have much else to say except I hope you found meaningful ways to connect during this conference. I know we're almost done, just a few more sessions to go, and join the association, join the interest groups, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.